TSUTigers.com, another Off the Grid, and this time we're going to actually step back a few years and talk to Roshaun Bowens, who was a part of our men's basketball team. Roshaun, when were you part of Tennessee State University?
I was a part of the men's basketball team 2001 through 2005.
Okay, well, terrific. And what have you been doing since your time at Tennessee State University?
Well, since I've left TSU, I went to play professional basketball overseas. Then I moved to Chicago to get my grad degree from Adler School of Professional Psychology in counseling psychology. And once I finished my degree, I got employed by Chicago Public Schools as a school counselor.
That's terrific. Let's talk a little bit about your time of playing basketball overseas. Kind of tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was a good experience because I wasn't highly recruited by agents. So I had an agent come to me and presented an opportunity. So I was kind of blessed to even have the chance to go play. And I can definitely say being over in Europe was the first time I felt extremely patriotic, like proud to be an American, you know.
Right.
But getting paid to play basketball, you can't beat it.
Right.
So I definitely enjoyed it, and I recommend that any player who has a chance to go, no matter how big or how small, to definitely go, because it's a chance to travel the world and broaden your horizons on the court and off the court.
So now, was that your first time, overseas?
Yes, that was my first time being overseas. So even off the court, it was a experience that helped open my eyes to how big the world is and how much it is out there that you don't know.
And was it different? Getting used to the different culture that you're living in as well.
It was definitely different because where I was at, no one spoke English. The younger generations spoke English, but the older generations, so going into grocery stores and fast food restaurants, it was definitely a communication barrier. So, but I kind of enjoyed it. I embraced the whole thing,
Now, you were in Luxembourg, and kind of talk about the different style of play in Europe as well as the United States.
Well, it's definitely more aggressive. Like, fouls are not fouls. I remember my first trial, because I had to go through a series of trials before I made a team. And the first trial I went to, a guy kind of came and just chucked me at half court. And I kind of lost the ball, and I was looking for a foul. And all the coaches and the refs was looking like that's a turnover. So it was definitely more physical play, which is okay with me because that's my game. I just didn't know,
Didn't know that was okay.
I didn't know it was okay.
So it was back to almost getting back on the rules on the playground. No autopsy, no foul.
Correct.
Well, you mentioned that once you came back, you went to grad school and you went to Alders, and then now you're with the Chicago Public School District.
Correct.
And kind of tell us a little bit about the experiences there.
Well, with CPS, I feel right at home because it's the third largest school district in the country. But I think the current statistic is 53% of black male students drop out, and that's a significant problem. So I feel like I'm serving the community. Because a lot of the problems the students have in these urban areas are not even purely academic, So I feel like as a counselor that I do a good job of supporting these students in their non-academic lives.
So it sounds like it's a very rewarding position.
Very rewarding,
And so you wouldn't change it for anything in that aspect?
Nah. Well, the next step would to become a principal. So that's going to be in the next 5 years. I'll be a principal. So after that, I think that'll be my perfect job.
Well, that's terrific. That's great to hear. Now, bring it back and talk about the schools and something growing up yourself. What high school did you go to?
I went to McGavick High School.
McGavick High School here in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. That's terrific. And kind of tell us a little bit about your time at McGavick High School before Tennessee State.
Well, McGavick wasn't my zone high school, but my mom thought it was a better fit for me, which turned out to be true. And it was kind of frustrating because my team was losing, so no matter how hard I played, you kind of don't get that recognition unless you're winning, you know. So it was frustrating at times, but I still made the best of it.
And tell us a little bit about how you got to Tennessee State and became a part of the 2001 team.
Well, I actually got recruited by the late Nolan Richardson Jr. In Florida in an AAU tournament at the Disney Wild World of Sports. Coach Richardson saw me there first, the summer before my senior year, and began the recruiting process at that point.
Okay, terrific. And how much did you know about Tennessee State before you even got into that process?
Oh, I knew a whole lot because I grew up going to Tennessee State games, the football games, all the classics. I went to the NYSP program as a child for 4 or 5 summers straight, so I was very familiar with the Gentry Center. So yeah, my whole life.
So why did your parents keep bringing you back? You know, as you say, you're growing up your whole life and coming. What's their tie to Tennessee State?
Well, my mom and dad both attended Tennessee State, and I live in Bordeaux. I still currently live, well, my parents still live in Bordeaux, which is 10 minutes down the street.
Right.
You know, so.
So basically, you were born blue.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good.
Yes,
that's
sir.
good. And you know, obviously, that must have been a great moment for your parents to be able to have you go to Tennessee State as well as play there. You know, how much do they? You know, how much did that mean to them, and having the opportunity to come watch you play all the time, as well as you know them being able to stay a part of the program ever since?
Oh, for me, that was the deciding factor. Like, cause my mom and dad they came to my games my whole childhood. You know, so I had a couple different options, and that was the deciding factor. I wanted my mom and dad, because they was going to come to all my games no matter what school I went to. So to save them some money, I just went ahead and stayed here, so my friends and family can come support the school.
Well, terrific. And how much do your parents still, you know, are they able to stay a part of Tennessee State University even after years?
Yeah, they both still support the school. Cause my mom got 9 brothers and sisters, and half of them went to Tennessee State as well. And my dad still buys season tickets every year. Despite how many games he's able to make, he makes sure to always buy tickets.
Yeah. And he keeps you up to date on what's happening?
Yeah, he definitely calls me with all the latest news that I don't get since I'm in Chicago. Yep.
Talk a little bit about your time during 2001, 2005, and maybe some of your teammates and some of your experiences with TSU basketball.
Right. I definitely enjoyed all my 4 years, the ups and the downs. And I guess what I enjoy most is I'm still in contact with several of the coaches, and definitely a lot of the players. I would say there's probably about 10 to 15 players who I still communicate with on a yearly basis, and there's another 5 or 6 that I talk to on a regular basis. You know, so those friendships that was formed through all those 6 in the morning workouts, 2 a days, traveling, the summers, staying here together for the summers, it definitely created real bonds and friendships that have lasted through the years.
Okay. And now, how often do you get to come back to Nashville, maybe even come up to TSU and to see some of the people you went to school with, and not just even some of your teammates, but even some of the administrators, some of the other coaches, some of the
Yo, so since I'm from Nashville, I come home about 4 or 5 times a year, and I definitely am still close with a lot of the staff members and faculty. So I literally come to TSU every time I come home, just to hang around the Gentry. Every time it's been a new coach, I always made a point and effort to try to meet the new coach, because I am a supporter of the program. And I told the coaches, if there's ever some players in Chicago that you need to check out, let me know. You know, I can save you a trip. But yeah, I definitely visit Tennessee State every time I come home. And I never have missed a homecoming, ever, and probably never will.
Well, and you mentioned homecoming, and you talk about everything about TSU, and I know this is going to be a tough question for you, but can you give us one of your favorite moments, one of your top moments, or favorite memories of Tennessee State University?
Yeah, there's definitely so many. And I probably, first thing that come to my mind is the homecomings. And the thing specific about the homecomings is being able to witness all the different generations of alumni, or the future alumni from the babies, so the vibe that I get from homecoming is unmatched. And I've been to other homecomings, other people's schools' homecomings, and maybe I'm biased since I'm from Nashville, but I've never been to nobody else's homecoming that had the energy that we have here at Tennessee State.
Well, I definitely can feel your pride of being a part of Tennessee State and that Tiger pride. And again, like I said, bleeding blue. And Roshaun, we definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your visit back to Nashville to sit down with us on Off the Grid here. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anytime.
All right, thank you.